What is up, my friends? It is Tuesday evening. You're very welcome along to today's show. Obviously, we are starting a bit earlier today because of the Champions League games kicking off at 8 o'clock, and I, like all of you, want to sit back and enjoy them. So, over the next 90 minutes or so, we're going to get stuck into it. We're going to find out what the latest is with the Darwin Nunez situation. We're going to be giving you some information of Jarell Quansah and his impressive stats, and loads of other bits and pieces over the next 90 minutes or so. As always, we want to know your thoughts, so do let us know in the comment section. If you haven't, drop a like on the stream, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. JC, how are we, mate? Straight in, look at that. 10 gifted Anfield Agenda memberships, and we're only moments into the stream. Absolute legend, mate. Thank you. So, before people start having a go at me, because I can already see some of the stuff in the comments, it's not me that's talking about Darwin going to Barca. It's not me that's talking about what his agent's doing. I'm just here to report what's in the media, and then we discuss it. That's how it happens. So, firstly, please don't start moaning at me. I didn't make up any of these stories. I'm just a Liverpool football fan looking to try and figure out what's going on with our club. So, for everybody that says to me, Craig Lewis Steele said this, I can say to you 3 other people said this. I don't know what the truth of the situation is, and I also don't know how I feel about it all. But what I can say is, it's annoying. That much I'm comfortable in saying. It's annoying. I don't like seeing our players linked strongly with moves away. I don't like hearing about agents apparently laying the groundwork for moves. I don't like it. It annoys me. It annoys me with Diaz. It's annoying me with Darwin. But I don't know is the truth behind these. So what we're going to try and do over the next 90 minutes is figure it all out. Try and figure out, is the interest from Barca concrete? Could they possibly afford it? Does Liverpool have any intention to sell Darwin? And what on earth is his agent playing at? So we'll work through it all, and then we'll figure out what we think. So let's start off with a bit of a summary of events as how they unfolded. So the first thing that came out today was our friends at LFC Transfer Room posted something, Credit and Sport, which is a Spanish outlet, and it said, Liverpool striker Darwin Nunez' agent, George Mendes, has offered the Uruguayan to Barcelona if Robert Lewandowski is to leave Barcelona this summer. Now, I'm not surprised by that, because if I was any club in Europe looking around for a good, young, talented striker to replace somebody of the calibre of Robert Lewandowski, I'm not surprised Darwin Nunez' name's been mentioned. But what winds me up, if there is any truth to this, is what is his agent doing? He has a contract. He's at a club. Unless Liverpool have told George Mendes to start going out and looking for a new club for Darwin, this is shithousery, and I don't like it. Now, George Mendes is one of these agents that loves a pound note. Absolutely loves the smell of money. And if you look at, for instance, a post that came in from Moby Hake, who's a very good account on Liverpool. I don't know Moby personally, but I am a fan of all of his work. And his post on there basically spoke about this. Manuel Ugarte played 39 minutes in total for PSG in their last 6 matches. Didn't even get off the bench in 4 of those 6 matches. He goes on to say, this is what happens when you have that clown George Mendes dictating your career for money. Mendes has 7 players at PSG. No need to guess why. So look, I get annoyed when agents start undermining our football club. And I don't know if there is truth to George Mendes speaking to Barcelona, but I know I don't like the headlines about it. And it's not just one paper today. There's more. Now, yes, Lewis Steele has come out and said Liverpool have no intention of selling, and I'm going to move on to that in a moment. But there's another outlet today that say Barcelona are very interested in Darwin Nunez. He is the #1 priority to replace Robert Lewandowski should he leave, and Alexander Isak of Newcastle is another name on the list. So, if you add this to the Darwin taking down the Liverpool stuff from his Instagram, you've got to say it doesn't look great. At the very least, it doesn't look great. Now, I don't know how Darwin's feeling. Like I've said over the last few days, I hope, most importantly, he's okay mentally and physically. Other than that, I've got to say I don't like the look of this. I don't. And I didn't like it when Diaz's father was talking about Barca. And if this is truly George Mendes, who runs the Gestafe agency, George Mendes also represents Diogo Jota, who's in our squad. George Mendes was the agent of Fabinho when we brought him to Liverpool as well. You might remember Deco was at Anfield when we were unveiling Fabinho. Deco works for George Mendes as part of that Guest a Few agency. So I hope that this is... Actually, there's no hope from anything. I hope it's a lie, first and foremost. But if I'm Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes now, I'm going to be on the blower to George Mendes quite quickly to say, what's all this about? Is this true? Why are you hawking a player around that we have no intention of selling? And on the no intention of selling part, just like our friend in the chat said a few minutes ago, Lewis Steele has said Liverpool's stance on Darwin Nunez is that he's going nowhere and they see him as a key player for their plans for the future. Now, one thing I would say is, regardless of whether this is the case or not, that's what the club would say. Because the club are hardly going to say, oh yeah, we're desperate to get rid of Darwin Nunez. Because what you're going to do then is lose a fortune, first and foremost. So I'm not sure what the club's ideal or genuine stance on it is. I hope it is as Lewis Steele said, because showing any willingness or want to sell is definitely going to knock the price down. So, and then you've got the obvious answer to this. How can Barcelona afford Darwin Nunez? Because, you know, Barcelona have financial concerns. So that's the starting point for tonight. And we just talk about it and we see what you feel. And then we're going to go through and talk about PACHO as well, who's been linked. We're going to talk about Lloyd Kelly, another player today who's been linked with a move to Liverpool. A little bit on Fabio Carvalho and a few other bits and pieces. So look, I've read you the notes of where we're starting from. Now I want to see how you guys feel about it. He's throwing a tantrum, said Vidur. Is Darwin going to Barca? Said Betislot. I don't know, my friend. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. But you've got to say, regardless of where you stand on this, if you're Darwin's biggest fan or you're somebody who's frustrated by Darwin, again, it's drama. It's drama that the club don't need. It's drama at the wrong time. And it seems unprofessional, whatever way you look at it. So I can understand Darwin being annoyed. Of course I can. I'm a hothead myself. I've said this, yes, I can totally get it. But if this is true about his agent, we've got a problem. Because he's a Liverpool Football Club player. And if he wants to put in a transfer request and look for a move elsewhere, then grow a pair and do it. But otherwise, I don't like this. I don't like destabilising our football club. I didn't like it when we were talking about the Mohamed Salah extension every 2 weeks as well, a few years back, I mean. This type of stuff isn't harmonious and doesn't look good. Now, there's another aspect to this. Maybe Barcelona are just rocking the boat, trying to cast a line out there to see if anybody's agents bite on the fact that they may need to replace Lewandowski. You know, that's because these publications that are mentioning it are certainly coming from the Spanish side. So, you know, take that into account as well. Why would we want someone who doesn't want to be here? Jack, if Darwin says he doesn't want to be here, and again, let's be fair, we have not seen Darwin say that yet. But if he says it, I would put that in the same category as everybody else. If anybody doesn't want to be at Liverpool, from a youth player right through to our biggest superstars, bye-bye. Find yourself a club, find Liverpool a fee, and off you pop. That's my simple stance on all of this. I think football clubs, not just Liverpool, but anybody, should never want to try and keep a player who doesn't want to be there. No matter how much we say they're professional, blah, blah, blah. If you don't want to be at a club, then, you know, best find a way out. For now, we don't know that to be 100% the case. All we know is that there are stories reported to say that Mendes is hawking him around. Toby said, Craig, why do South Americans use us as a stepping stone to get to Madrid or Barca? We need African talents who love and dream of the Prem. Look, it is understandable that a player growing up in Mexico, Uruguay, Argentina, Brazil, I can absolutely see how they would look at La Liga and it'd be a great cultural fit for them. You know, the weather a lot better. I get all of that. But like you've said, I don't like us being a stepping stone for anybody. Not at all. But look, I also can't knock players who grow up in a certain part of the world dreaming about certain clubs. But, you know, if you don't get to those clubs, because Barca didn't put the money forward for Darwin. Barca didn't put the money forward for Lucho. We did. They've come here, and in Darwin's case, he's been absolutely 100% idolised by those match-going fans and most of us online. Not everyone, because there has been some assholes, and I've been critical of him. But again, difference between being critical and being hate-filled. But how many times have we heard the travelling cop or Anfield singing his name? Even if he's had a poor game, singing his name. So, yeah, it all just doesn't feel great. And I don't like that we're destabilised again towards the end of Klopp's era, because all we should be talking about at the moment is how we're going to celebrate the end of Jurgen's time. And this stuff just worries me. Remember Coutinho's tantrums. If Darwin is doing the same, then sell him. Yes, look, I don't want to sell Darwin. I think one more year at Liverpool Football Club and we'll get a better, more definitive answer to whether he's going to make it or not. By make it, I mean consistently. So I'm in the camp of I want to keep him for another season. But if he or anyone doesn't want to be here, then my stance changes very, very quickly to best of luck, find yourself a club, don't let the door hit you on the way out. That's honestly how I feel about it. And I don't care if that's Darwin Nunez, Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Alisson Becker. It doesn't matter. If somebody doesn't want to be at Liverpool Football Club or any club, then that's a problem. Kyle said, never been a Darwin fan. Like why people are chanting his name when he can't score sitters. Better players have been in the team. Because to be fair to him, look, we've talked about the sitters and it's a fair point, mate. But he does do a lot of other stuff. He does create chances that probably our other types of forwards wouldn't be able to create for themselves. So Darwin does have more attributes than just sticking the ball in the net. But I'm not undermining you or denying the frustration of those missed chances. But he does create quite a bit as well. So yeah, I'm very simplistic on this. If he's happy to stay, give him another year. If he wants out, do it quickly and find a club for him, because we don't need drama with a new coach coming in. Fed up with these South Americans being a stepping stone for Liverpool. It's not always the case though, Alex. Look at Fabinho. Look at Firmino. They came in and absolutely loved the club. Alisson would be the same as well, to be fair. You know, so we've had some South Americans that have come in and you know, Lucas Leiva, another good example, who don't look at us as a stepping stone, fall in love with the club and its fans and realise they're idolised here. But every so often there will be a Felipe Coutinho or Luis Diaz who maybe does have an ambition to play for Barca or Real Madrid someday. That's all fine until it isn't. You know, there's no problem having these ambitions privately or whatever, but when you keep talking about them, your agent's starting to push moves in one of those directions, I don't get it. I remember Luis Suarez acting up. Yes, he did act up, absolutely, and left the club with that bite of Chiellini, kind of no option, but nobody would ever say that he didn't give 100% every time he went out on the pitch. No, I'm not accusing anybody else of not giving 100%. So, I'm trying to figure out if there's a poll in this and how we can get the poll going. I guess this probably feels like the best way to gauge what you guys think, so bear with me. Right, so there's a poll, right? I'm going to throw this into the chat. And it just says, do you think Darwin really wants to leave? Because I'm not putting it on us, right? I'm not putting this back on the fan base. Because we get blamed on enough here. So I'm not saying, do you want to sell Darwin? Or do I want to sell Darwin? I'm asking, do you think he wants to leave? Darwin saved us at Forest and Newcastle. Absolutely. That Newcastle performance, Christopher, it was unbelievably impactful and important. You know, we were down to 10. We were 1-0 down. Dude comes off the bench and absolutely won us the game. Hands down. And nobody else in the team would have been able to do that. So, absolutely, I'm here for you. And again, this isn't us driving this conversation, bro. This isn't Anfield Agenda or any of us trying to get the lad out. This is stories coming out of the paper about his agent hawking him around to Barcelona. So we'll leave that running in the background for a little bit, because there's lots more stories today that I want to go through and chat with you guys about. So here's an interesting one, kind of on topic but slightly off topic. So transfer sector have said the most valuable clubs in world football as ranked by Sportico. You ready? The most valuable football club in the world, according to Sportico, are Manchester United, who in American dollars are valued at 6.2 billion, until somebody wants to buy them and then nobody wants to pay 6.2 billion. But either way, Man United top of the list. Second on the list are Real Madrid, who are valued at 6 billion US dollars. Third place on the list is really close. Liverpool just lost out on third place, but Barcelona are valued at 5.2 billion US dollars. Liverpool Football Club are fourth on the list, valued just a little bit behind Barca at 5.1 billion. And then in fifth place on the list are Bayern Munich, valued at 4.8 billion. You know who's not on the list? Manchester City, who are supposedly the best at everything. But the valuation on the open market seems to be a lot less. But either way, there's your top 5 ranked clubs in the world, according to Sportico, for value or price of the clubs. United top, Real Madrid second, Barca third, Liverpool fourth, Bayern fifth. I don't really have many arguments with that list, to be honest with you. I think it's pretty fair. Harry, how are you, mate? If you don't perform in Spanish leagues, fans have less time for players underperforming, and Nunez was built up to be our star boy, our next Mane or Salah. I would agree. Look, Coutinho went to Barca, didn't work out for him. It wasn't really the dream that he wanted. And look, I'm not agreeing with you to say Spanish fans are fickle or anything, but they will certainly be quicker to be vocal about being displeased with performances because they're used to success. You know, if you go to Barca or Real Madrid, they expect you to do Ronaldo numbers, Benzema numbers. They expect you to come in and be Xavi, Iniesta. They don't put up with poor performances for very long. So I agree with you on that one. If Darwin stays, his agent would look like a right Egypt. His agent doesn't really care about looking like an Egypt, to be fair, because he's one of the most powerful football agents in the world. Very, very well bedded in at Wolves, which is why you see so many Portuguese players coming in there. And a little look through George Mendes' list of clients is quite impressive as well. But for us, the only other player we have at the club represented by Mendes at the moment is Diogo Jota. Craig, why has chaos become a staff for players like Darwin and Jackson? We never call them. It seems like a justification for players who don't step up. So I can't speak about Nicholas Jackson because, you know, I'm not a Chelsea fan. I don't watch that much of him. But Captain Chaos for us, I think it's a good title for Darwin because he can cause chaos. I mean, case in point, the Newcastle game that our friend brought up a moment ago. Nobody else was able to do what he did in that game. He came on and tore it up. So I think it's a fitting one for him. Yeah, as I said, I can't speak about Nicholas Jackson because I don't watch that much of Chelsea. If PSG came in with a 70, 80 million bid for Canade, would I sell? Yes, I would. At that number, I would, personally. Because I don't think he's at that number yet. I think Canade's talent is undoubted. I have always had concerns about he seems to get quite a few little muscle injuries. But more recently, I'm concerned by his confidence. It seems to have taken a knock. No, I wouldn't be actively looking. But as you said, in your scenario, if somebody came in and said, here's 70 to 80 million pound for Canade, would I take it? I probably would. Keep up the good work, Craig. Much love, Ray. Thank you, pal. Appreciate you. I honestly don't care who you are, said Roger. If he wants to leave, let him. However, I personally want him to stay. you've summed up me and my feelings as well, Roger John. Exactly that. I want Darwin to stay, but I don't want anyone to stay who doesn't want to be here. So I think the first thing we need to figure out is this true? Is his agent really hawking him around to Barca? Because all we know for certain is that Darwin's obviously upset, removed Liverpool pictures, and that's all we really know at this moment, other than the reports of his agent going to Barca and stuff like that. So I think we need to be respectful until we know otherwise. Like, if this is confirmed by an English journalist, or, you know, if I see a David Ornstein or James Pearce or somebody coming out and saying, like Paul Joyce, yes, his agent was speaking to Barca, and I'm gonna, my tone will change quite quickly. Would I cash in on Fabio or loan him again next season? I don't know what I would do, mate, is the honest answer. I think the obvious thing to do is look at him in pre-season and go from there. I've no idea what Arne Slot thinks of Fabio Carvalho. Actually, on Carvalho, there was an interesting little quote from him. So we were speaking about Jurgen Klopp, and Anything Liverpool posted this, credited as Anything Liverpool, and it's from Theo Squires of the Echo. Fabio Carvalho confirms he wishes he'd spoken to Jurgen Klopp a lot more. He said, yes, I spoke to him not a lot. If I'm being honest with you, maybe I should have done that. I should have done that a little bit more. So there is a full article on there, actually, from Theo Squires, which, you know, lays this out, because they had an interview with Fabio Carvalho. Definitely worth a read if you get the chance. Craig question, Darwizzi or Jota? Probably Jota, but his injury concern is one that I'd be concerned about as well. But I hate that we even have to have that conversation, dude, because they're both Liverpool players, right? So Darwin uploaded a story on Instagram, Ronald Araujo calling him his brother. I know that, but he is his brother in international football. Like, they are both Uruguayan. They both proudly represent, you know, Uruguay in the world stage. Obviously play with Uruguay. So I wouldn't read too much into that. But of course it doesn't stop fueling the rumours, right? Because not only, of course, is Ronald Araujo a Uruguayan international, he's also a Barcelona centre-half. So yeah, I can see where you got it from, but for me, look, I'm trying to be respectful here. I really am. I'm trying to hang off because of everything Darwin's been through, but these stories aren't helping. Craig, I think the club should come out and stop the crap going on about Darwin. I get where you're coming from, Paul. I would like the narrative of this situation to be changed somewhat. For instance, people will say that Darwin doesn't have to respond, okay? And that might be fair enough. But it wouldn't hurt for him to give a little post to say, you know, I'm ready for next season, or I'm looking forward to the next campaign. I'll be back better than ever. Something simple like that would help. Certainly would help calm some of these rumours. You know, what you'd probably get from the football club is, well, we don't talk about rumours. Darwin's a Liverpool player, XYZ. Do you regret selling Hendo? I think we missed a leader. So, again, you say that like it was Liverpool's choice. Jordan Henderson wanted out. And that was Jordan's choice. My feelings about that move are very, very well documented, and some people still hold it against me, but I don't care. He threw his toys out with a pram and he ran off and disguised it behind this nonsense of spreading the game of football around the world. Ultimately, I don't know why he would have wanted to leave Liverpool. Because remember, Hendo was, at that moment, probably in the best condition I've ever seen him physically. You know, if you've seen the, you know, after his boxing training and all, he looked in great shape. And I thought we were getting a Hendo who was about to knuckle down and fight for his place. But no doubt losing Henderson and Milner from the squad has lost us some leadership. Absolutely. But again, the framing of how that deal happened wasn't Liverpool just decided one day to sell Hendo. Henderson asked to go, and the club, you know, agreed because the player wanted to move. That's how it actually panned out. Like, so. Hey Craig, love your work. Thank you. Saw an article on PSG preparing a 77 million quid bid for Lucho. Is there any truth to that? I don't know if there's truth to it, but I can understand why. But from his perspective, nobody's ever going to convince me that leaving Liverpool to go to PSG is a step up in the footballing world. Not a hope. You know, Barcelona I could have lived with because Lucho openly dreamt about playing for them. But nobody's going to tell me that he grew up over there in Colombia dreaming about playing for Paris Saint-Germain. No. So no, I'd be annoyed by that move. And I don't think Liverpool will want to cash in on Diaz for a couple of reasons. One, he's on a pretty reasonable wage at the club. I think he's on 70 odd grand a week, which for us mere mortals is obviously a ridiculous amount, but from a pro footballer at the top level, it's not all that much. So yeah, look, I'd be concerned if Diaz wanted to go to PSG because that would start to make me feel like something stinks at Liverpool. Barca, again, I could understand, but I don't think Liverpool will have any appetite to sell Diaz. What's the thumping in the background? I don't know. Something outside, maybe? I don't know. Maybe somebody outside's working on the car or something, dude. I haven't got a clue. I'm sitting in my living room here. Do you want Darwin out for funds or other reasons? So, I didn't say anything about wanting Darwin out. In fact, again, this is one of these situations where I feel like people are trying to put words in my mouth that I've not spoken. I said, give him another season. For a week, I sat on the fence and said, not sure. Then I said, give him another season. So, I don't want Darwin out for anything. But, I'll caveat that again. If it turns out his agent's working on his behalf to try and get him a move away, then he can do one. Simply. I just don't want anybody at Liverpool who doesn't want to be here. End of conversation. And it doesn't matter if it's our, most senior star player or a kid coming through. If you don't want to be here, best of luck to you. Off you pop. But I don't know if Darwin doesn't want to be here or not. All we know for the moment is the reports coming out of Spain about his agent offering him to Barcelona. Victor said, Craig, I really hope we do keep Captain Chaos because there's definitely a reason he's called that. I hope we keep him as well. Do you know what really bothers me, right? Yesterday I made a video, a real hypothetical, what I'd like to see potentially next year and how we might line up under Arne Slot. And in the video, I included 2 new signings. And I obviously included them in the starting 11 because the video wouldn't have made sense if I said Olise on the bench because Salah's playing. And people jumped down my throat about no Szoboszlai being in it and said I have an agenda against Dominic Szoboszlai. People jumped down my throat about no Salah being in it, even though I clearly said I'm not sure what's happening with Salah in the video. And then people had a go at me for putting Darwin Nunez in the team and use that as an excuse to say I have an agenda against other people at the club. It's really weird the way people carry on. If I made that video and said, this is how we might line up next season and just made the same 11 without any signings in it, it would kind of undermine the whole point of the video, right? So I put in Diamonde and Olise in there. And I admitted that I second guessed myself on Olise because initially I wanted to put Mohamed Kudus in there. But then I looked and Kudus was lining up on the left side of West Ham's attack and I got in my own head. And I thought, maybe you have him in the wrong position, Craig. So I talked myself out of putting Kudus in there. And I put in Olise. It's mad. Like, I really don't understand what I'm supposed to do at times. Because whatever I say, people twist it into something else to make it out like I hate somebody. And it's tough sometimes. Because I made the video as a bit of fun, to kind of just see how we may look next season. Because somebody suggested it to me and I said, that sounds like a cool video idea. Let's have a go with it. Isak or Osimhen to replace Darwin. For me, Jamie, 100% I'd prefer Isak. Now, I know there's injury concerns there, but I really do like Isak, and I do think in Liverpool's system he could work. Now, in my ideal greedy world, I'd want both, because I don't want to lose Darwin. I only want to lose Darwin if Darwin wants to go. But for me, imagine we just brought in both. Like, imagine we brought Isak in to complement the attack. Rumours suggest City in the Premier League may settle outside court. I hope not. That would be really bad. Well, firstly, it's an independent commission that's hearing the case. So I don't know if settling outside is possible, because settling usually means somebody doesn't admit liability. So what settling usually means is, let's say, you accept a punishment, but you don't admit liability for that punishment. And I don't know if the Premier League can do that. I don't know if the other 19 Premier League clubs would be happy with that. Especially after, let's be honest here, 5.5, 6 years of dragging this shit out. So, I don't know if that's acceptable, quite frankly. Nor do I know if there's any truth to it, Stargirl. So, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Steve, how are you, my friend? Steve Aldous, he said, Craig, I honestly think Darwin could become the best striker in the world. Get him in the video room. Learn to make better decisions on finishing. When he's confident, he looks unstoppable. I agree. Sit him down with a Fowler, even a Michael Owen. Just tell Michael Owen not to wear his United stuff to the training ground. Sit him down with one of them. Sports psychologist. You know, if you can put that together, boom. But I have to say, Steve, if he wants out, then that's the end of it in my eyes. Off you pop. Right, some more news, because there is a lot more to get through. A little bit on Jarell Quansah for a second. Great post here from Anfield Sector, so credit to those guys, who said centre backs aged 21 and less, with 1,000 plus minutes played, with the highest percentage of defensive duels won in Europe's top 5 leagues this season. Jarell Quansah tops the list with 78.6%, according to Wisecout. And again, credit Anfield Sector for the post. So yeah, you can see why Cannavaro there is going to get himself a new deal at the end of the campaign, because he's more than earned it. Right, this one. So, Caught Offside have said Liverpool have reportedly made an approach to Bournemouth defender Lloyd Kelly, who's available on a free transfer in the summer. He's 25 years of age, homegrown, can play left back or centre back, might be a good option to supplement their squad for next season. So normally when we start thinking about free transfers, I think cheap, 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 and I think about our owners being cheap. But this one genuinely would make sense. We've been linked with Lloyd Kelly before he went to Bournemouth. I think he was at Bristol, if my memory is correct. And on a free transfer, albeit there'll be, of course, a sign on fee and wages, I think it will be a very astute piece of business for the reasons laid out in the post. Can play in a multitude of positions and is homegrown and would help us with that homegrown quota. So yes, that would be a decent piece of business for me if this is the case. But I know we're not alone in our interest. I think Spurs and a couple of other clubs, and even some clubs from overseas, I think have looked at Lloyd Kelly. So we'll wait and see. You wonder though, with Richard Hughes coming into Liverpool as our sporting director, of course, having worked and I think brought Lloyd Kelly to Bournemouth, do we have an advantage in that? Well, it certainly wouldn't hurt, right? So we'll wait and see what happens there. Lloyd Kelly doesn't start for Bournemouth. How does he start for Liverpool? No one's saying he starts, mate. No one's saying he starts. Sometimes when we talk about transfers, yes, we talk about players who need to come in now. But Lloyd Kelly could be another Joe Gomez type figure. Could be another... And homegrown. You know, we've got to remember that. We need as many homegrown players as possible. So homegrown and a potential free with the ability to cover at 25, I could see how that could make some sense. You know, I wouldn't like to hear that. Well, that's our centre back replacement. You know, if that was the case, mate, yeah, then I'd be worried. Mark said, "How are you? What is the latest news?" I'm very good, thank you, buddy. Very good. And the latest news we're just working through. So, PACHO, let's talk PACHO because we haven't brought him up yet today. And Neil Jones, who's a very good journalist, has said recent Liverpool links to centre back Willian PACHO have substance. So that doesn't mean we're signing him. It doesn't mean we're not signing him. But it does mean, as Neil Jones has said, there's credibility to those links for Liverpool to look at Willian PACHO. Now, this is another one of those occasions where I have to say, hi, I'm Craig and I know nothing about Eintracht Frankfurt, so help. But I know he's a player that's been mentioned quite a bit by you guys in conversation. So, PACHO, yay or nay? And what would we be looking at money-wise? Because I have no idea, lads. Haven't got a clue. I know we're interested in Inacio. I've seen some links to Diamonde. We've spoke about other ones, like Mark A from Palace. But PACHO, you know, there's no mention of a number in this piece. But it is good to see that Neil Jones at least confirming that Liverpool's interest is sincere. And we'll come on, he said, to that Union Saint-Gilloise link in a moment, mate. I have that on my list as well to go through. Lechris said, a great transfer window would be PACHO, Fofana from Monaco, Olise and Isak. I wanted to talk to you about Fofana actually in a while, so can you remind me to come back to him in a few minutes? Liverpool should sign Van de Ven. Yeah, that ship has sailed, mate. And I've said for most of this season, Van de Ven feels like the one that got away. Yeah, I would have really liked us to go and sign Mickey Van de Ven. I think Spurs did great business there. Glenn Parry said, PACHO's good, but is left-footed, so second choice to VVD. It'll be about his buyout, about 50 million. Second choice to VVD is not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a substantial amount to bring in somebody who could potentially, as you said, just be a rotation for Virgil. Would you prefer Murillo or PACHO at Liverpool? Murillo for me, because I know a little bit more about him. So for me, I'd hedge to the guy with the Premier League experience. So yeah, I'd go for Murillo. But you were looking at, from yesterday, probably a similar price. I think Forest paid 11 million when they brought him in. I can't remember where he came from, but I want to say Corinthians. And then there's talk that they'd look for about 50. So yeah, Murillo for me wouldn't be a bad shout. But again, we'll have to wait and see if those links emerge with the English-based journalists. If we had to sell every player in our team except for one, who would it be? Alisson. I still stand over Alisson. Other than Alisson, if I had to just keep one player from the whole squad, Jesus. McAllister, probably. Maybe Soboslai. Yeah, McAllister, Soboslai or Alisson probably be my answer, but Alisson is the top one. Kudus or Bakayoko from PSV? Kudus for me, mate. You know, Premier League ready. Bakayoko could be the next big thing. You know, if you look at the stats behind how impressive attack-wise PSV Eindhoven were in the Eredivisie this year, you know, them dudes were scoring for fun. And we've had a long-held link with Bakayoko. So I could see and understand the links. But, you know, I think if we held a poll here, Kudus would be probably pretty straightforward winner. I would go as far as to say, I think most of you guys would have Kudus as the option to bring in another attacker. If we were to bring somebody in. Even to work and compete with Mo, or if Mo leaves. Either way, I think Kudus And the fact that there was a confirmation from David Ornstein that Kudus and Paqueta both have release clauses in their West Ham contracts, that means that it's feasible. So, yeah, I like the idea of Kudus. I very much would like Kudus at Liverpool. I very much would like Isak at Liverpool. Yeah, so for me, Kudus. But, again, I could be missing out completely on Bakayoko because I just haven't seen that much of him. Top target should be Nico Williams. He's a great footballer, mate. He defo is. Certainly better than his brother Iñaki. But again, I think there's a release clause in his deal at Athletic Club Bilbao. But yeah, I like Nico Williams as well. And again, he's another one that's been on the list of players that have been linked to Liverpool. So, Dev said, Craig, please bro, I'm not hating, I watch you a lot. However, please let's get on the same page about Darwin for your mental health. Dude, I don't know what else I can say about the Darwin situation. You know, I've said I'd keep him. That's my own preference. But I can't stop the news coming out if his agent's speaking to Barca. I didn't take down the Liverpool post from his social media page. I'm not in control of any of that. You know, my choice is to keep him. But if he wants out, then I would change my perspective because I'm very strong about players wanting to be at Liverpool. If you don't want to be here, then don't let the door hit you on the way out. Just joined. Have I missed the news about Darwin? I'll happily go back through it, mate. Don't worry. I realise people pop in and out as and when they get in from work or whatever. So really quickly, I'll run through the Darwin news again today. The first post I seen was a great post from our friends at LFC Transfer Room who were quoting Sport, which is a Spanish outlet, say Liverpool striker Darwin Nunez' agent, George Mendes, has offered the Uruguayan to Barcelona if Robert Lewandowski is to leave Barcelona this summer. There was another post then that went on to say, again from a different outlet, that said Barcelona are very interested in Darwin Nunez. He's the number one option to replace Robert Lewandowski. Isak from Newcastle is another option. But then we counterbalance that with a post from Lewis Steele, who said Liverpool's stance on Darwin Nunez is that he's going nowhere and they see him as a key part of their plans for the future. So what I'd say to that is good. I hope that's the case. But also, I wouldn't expect the club to say anything else. You know, I definitely don't think the club are going to be briefing around that they want rid of him because that would initially knock the price down. So I hope what Lewis Steele said is the case. But as I said, I wouldn't expect the club to brief anything else. Just reminding you on Fofana. Perfect, thank you. So I've been reading a few articles over the last few days looking at the European market for defensive midfielders, and Fofana from Monaco's name has come up in many of the articles. Now, look, again, I'm going to be honest and say I don't watch Monaco. I occasionally check in to see how Taki's getting on, but Fofana, if I remember correctly, he's 25. Thoughts? Maybe it's a poll, because again, that's an easy one. So we'll end this other one where we asked you, do you think Darwin really wants to leave? And 54% of you guys say you think that Darwin does indeed want to leave. 46% say no. Akshay Dixit, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate it. So let's get another one on Fofana, because I don't know much about the dude. So what did you say? You're looking at around 30 million. Was that the price? One sec. Okay. No, Craig, you spelled Monaco wrong. Okay. So, straightforward question. Would you take Fofana from Monaco for 30 million? Yay or nay? I want centre back Inacio, DM Mats Wiefer, and forward Kudus. So, Varun, I feel like that's a very achievable transfer window. One of the more realistic ones I've seen put in. certainly, do you know, I can't get past this, mate. If we sign Ignacio this summer, one, I'll be happy that we've signed at the centre back, but I can't help but feel like I'll still be annoyed we threw €20 million in the bin, because we could have had him for 40 last summer, and then he signed that new deal at Sporting, and that new release clause now is 60. That would bug me. I have to say, it would bug me, because it's €20 million. So it's a lot of money. Matt Riefer, I don't know much about other than he plays at Feyenoord. He's currently injured, I believe, at the minute. And Kudus, I'm right there with you. Should Liverpool go legal if we miss out on the title by 1 or 2 points? No. It won't change. And look, let's be honest. Yes, I agree with you that it was a complete shit show with some of those decisions. But ultimately, at the end of the campaign, we fell away. You know, we dropped the points to Palace. We dropped the points at Goodison Park. We drew at Manchester United at Old Trafford. And there was no shenanigans in those games, really. That was just down to us not being good enough. So, I don't think it's time to start looking at that. I do, however, feel very strongly about the Manchester City stuff. And I can only say what I believe. And whatever the outcome of Manchester City's charges, I won't believe that they didn't do it. There's nothing on this planet that is going to convince me that Manchester City haven't broken rules. It's just my opinion, and nothing is going to change it based off the information that I've seen over the years. So I'm really, really invested in how that situation works out, because it feels like a big, big watershed moment in English football. And with how long it's taken, I think we deserve a very clear and well-explained outcome, whatever that outcome is. Also, actually, I'm sure you guys have seen this, but Nottingham Forest's point deduction stands. Their appeal was unsuccessful, so that was confirmed yesterday as well. Connor, GLFC, thank you, mate. Appreciate you. So, we officially did the Liverpool show poster today. You should see that appearing soon enough around. But what I want to remind you about is this amazing show. If you can pick one show to come to see Anfield Agenda, this is the one. This is the venue. This is the show. Come to Cardiff if you get a chance. It's an all ages event, meaning you can go no matter if you're 10 or 90. It doesn't make a difference. Everyone's welcome. Tickets are just £15, so that's £15. Link in the description. I'm sure we can get a pin to the top of the chat in a moment. And we've got a family group of tickets, so that's 4 tickets for £50. And it doesn't matter if you're a family or you want to go with your mates. It's basically just rewarding you for buying 4 tickets. So you can get 4 tickets for £50 in total. And the Liverpool show will also be £15. We're not going to be selling those tickets ourselves. That's going to be the Hot Water Comedy Club. But Belfast, check out Ticketmaster. Cardiff, link in the description. And hope to see you there. It's going to be a great show. Do I think PSG tries to come in for Salah? Of all the European clubs, I think I could understand if they came in for Diaz or Salah, because they're going to need players. But what I refuse to accept is that anybody, whether it be Diaz or Salah or anybody else, who would leave Liverpool to go to PSG, nobody will ever convince me that that's a step forward in their career. It's absolutely a step backwards, in my opinion. But if there was a situation where, again, this is a hypothetical, let's say Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes sit down with Rami Abbas, Issa and Mo, and the club say, look, Mo, we'd like you to stay. We feel like we think 300 grand a week and a 2-year extension is a fair offer, and that's the best we can do. And if Mo and his agent said, no, we want a pay rise, happy to stay, but we want a pay rise, and the club don't do it, then I can absolutely understand why Mo would want to stay in Europe and play at the top level, because, you know, he probably does have more years to give. So in that regard, I could understand it. But I certainly couldn't understand them leaving to go to PSG for it being a move forward in his career. I don't think that would be the case. Same with Diaz, by the way. What time does the Cardiff show start at? 7. What? 7? 7. 7 o'clock, and should be over by about 9:30. Honestly, just even check the venue out if you haven't. The Richard Burton Theatre. It is phenomenal. It is so cool. So yeah, 7 o'clock. And the Liverpool show, doors will open at 5:30 at the Hot Water Comedy Club. Show will be 7. Will be finished by about 9:30 as well. And all we need to do is sell 2 tickets a day for Cardiff, and we'll sell out the venue. So we got yesterday's 2 tickets. So if you want to be today's 2 tickets, don't forget, scan that QR code in the corner or link in the description of this video. And actually another good reason for you to go to Cardiff is, one second, I want to get the link in the chat for you. One sec. So the reason I keep saying about the Cardiff show is it's the only show you'll see all of us at. So me, Connor and Ben will all be at the Cardiff show. Liverpool show will be the last ever live show Anfield Agenda do. So that's another reason for that one. That's on the 4th of August. But yeah, Cardiff will be the only show you'll ever get to see all of us. LFC bosses brought this onto themselves when they leaked that Darwin was not a club consensus signing, but a Klopp-only signing. I get where you're coming from. Now, you always have to say, we don't really know who linked what, or leaked what, right? We don't. I've seen the post you're talking about, and I can also understand it. You know, from looking into the 4-year history of Darwin Nunez before he came to Liverpool, the season we signed him for was the last one. But that was an outlier. Every other season he underperformed his XG. That season he overperformed it by, I think it was about 7 goals. So I agree with you. I do think it doesn't feel like the type of signing that Edwards running over all the numbers would have thought was consistent. So I think I agree with you. I don't think Edwards would have signed him, but that's not to say he's not happy with him being here. Colin said, looking forward to the Liverpool show. I'm only a bus ride away. Nice. Well in, mate. Well in. And also Lucas will be at the Cardiff show. My son as well, so you get to meet him. Last live show. Why? They are very, very difficult for me to do. That's why. For me to do a live show, it takes quite a bit of counselling and work with my psychologist to get over my social anxiety to do these type of things. So it takes a lot out of me to do a live show. My nerves do be quite high. So I never really thought it was something we would do, to be fair. But the Dublin one we did was good, and I've always wanted to go do Liverpool, Cardiff and Belfast. So I said to the lads, look, I can't do any more. These are the last 3 shows I'm going to put myself through. The rest, if we do in the future, we'll do just meet and greets, you know, where we just come say hello to people, meet you at a venue or whatever. Like, but yeah, it's down to me, to be honest with you. It's tough for me to get on there on stage and do these things. It really, I suffer a lot with anxiety around those type of things. Do you think Slot will unleash Darwin's potential? I mean, all I can say is I hope so. I hope so. I'd like to get confirmation of that he wants to stay at the club first. You know, that would really be great to hear. Because silence is feeding into these rumours, isn't it? You know, we see the stuff coming out of Spain. We see the links from Barcelona. We see him taking down the Liverpool images from his socials. It would be nice to get a confirmation that, okay, fair enough if he's disappointed with some Liverpool fans or whatever. I can understand that. But yeah, I'd like to know he wants to be here, you know? Do you think at this point of the season we still have something to play for other than for Klopp? No, no. I don't think there's anything. Uh, no, third place is secure. Let's be realistic. We're not winning the league. So third place is secure. I think players should be playing for their futures, some of them. And obviously to give Klopp all the big send-off. So, yeah. And they're two interesting games, right? Villa away is going to be an interesting one. And then, of course, we've got the last game at home against Wolves, which is Jurgen's last game. And, that speaks for itself. Latif said, Darwin shouldn't continue as our main striker, in my opinion. Luis Guilherme said, nor. Again, we've defo been linked with Luis Guilherme from Palmeiras. The only two things I remember off the top of my head is one report saying Liverpool had a 20 million euro turned down and Palmeiras would want something closer to 50. But then there was another post or comment from Fabrizio Romano that said it is true that Liverpool are monitoring Luis Guilherme, but I believe he said that he's not aware of any offer having been made. Glenn said, respect you, Craig, for putting yourself through all that. I had to do it, Glenn. I had to challenge myself. I had to do it. Yeah, I had to do it. It was the last thing I knew I'd have to try and do in this industry. And look, I've seen other people do it, they walk on stage, they're really comfortable on there. It's a real process for me, dude. But look, I have to say, I also love meeting people afterwards, I love seeing who the people are that come support us and all. So yeah, 3 last shows ever: Belfast, Cardiff, Liverpool, and then I'm more than happy, Then we'll have done Dublin, Belfast, Cardiff, Liverpool, job done. Over the moon with that. Right, so there was another story that I haven't yet spoken about, and it's a bit of a weird one. Anfield Edition have posted this one, and they say Liverpool have recently made inquiries about Union Saint-Gilloise striker Mohamed Amora. 23 years of age, has 22 goals for the Belgian team this season, and is valued at around 20 million euro. Again, I know we played Union Saint-Gilloise in the Europa League this year, but another name for me I don't have a clue about. So I'm not going to sit here and go, oh yeah, that's a bargain. I haven't got a clue. Please bring back the drink tasting next season, Craig. I liked that segment myself, to be honest, but my wife and my daughter were starting to do me dirty with some ginger flavoured drinks and stuff. So leave it with me. What happened to the Caicedo money? Well, we've spent some of it, to be fair. Remember that since we lost out in Caicedo to Chelsea, we did sign Ryan Gravenberch and Wataru Endo for, what was it, a combined 56, 58 million. So not the 115 million, but I wouldn't be saying that the 115 million still sitting there in a bank account. Is Mbappe still on the radar? Absolutely not, no. I think, you'll get that announcement of him going to Real Madrid quite soon, I'd say. Especially now the PSG have been knocked out. That, by the way, can we just take a second to just acknowledge that? Well done, Borussia Dortmund. I feel like football won last night. Dortmund showed once again that you can throw money at a problem. You can have superstars in your team. You can do what you want. But without the right spirit, without the right coaching, without the right group, it ain't going to do shit. And to see Borussia Dortmund, against the odds, come and get to a Euro or a Champions League final, it is amazing. I'm honestly so happy for their fans, for their club, and for football. Because football won last night. Because the petrodollars, the pumped up fashion brands that is PSG, was beaten by hard work, organisation, and good solid pros. And I loved it. Really, really cool to see. And it's just a good feel football story for me. Amora is from Algeria. He's a good winger, Craig, said Victor. Thank you, Victor. Really do appreciate that, dude. I know nothing about him. They call him a striker here now. Now maybe he plays for USG as a striker, but the piece said Union Saint-Gilloise striker, 23 years of age, 22 goals. But yeah, thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Are Edwards and Hughes in their posts yet? No, is the short answer. Richard Hughes will finish up at the end of the campaign with Bournemouth, and I think Michael Edwards has been kind of double jobbing, if my understanding is correct. I think he still does some stuff with Ludonautics, the company that Dr. Ian Graham set up and that Michael Edwards went to work with. So I think he's been obviously doing some stuff for Liverpool. I think he's been between the both of them. But yeah, Richard Hughes at the end of the campaign. What's this one? 1 second. So Sky are going to do 3 p.m. kickoff next season, but is it only for the Championship? So Sky Sports plans to broadcast football during 3 p.m. slot as it gets to increase its live sports coverage by 50% from next season. Sky has insisted it takes seriously the responsibility of minimising disruption for match-going fans. It announced that every game of the opening weekend of the English Football League season would be broadcast live, including those scheduled to start at traditional kickoff times. I think it is just for the EFL though, in all honesty. But it's a start. It's a start because that 3 p.m. That 3 p.m. thing's a joke. Someone said, "Is that my Lucas in the chat? Where are you? Where are you, Lucas?" Where is he? I don't know if that is my son or not. I've no idea. I hope it is. I'll figure out though. I don't know if it is my son or not. I hope it is. I hope it's not somebody pretending to be my son. But either way. Godwin said, "Enjoy your content." Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Are we doing something for the end of the season, like polls and stuff? Yeah. Well, look, we don't stop making content when the season's over. Account's 3 minutes old. Okay, 1 second. I've just shouted up to my wife to ask if it is him or not. Uh, 3 p.m. subscriptions would obviously make Sky subscriptions worth again, but I think it's just for the EFL. I don't think, if my understanding's right, I don't think it's for the Premier League games. No, so it's not him. Okay. Yeah, so it isn't Lucas. That wasn't my son. But thank you to everyone who treated him as if it was, like, sincerely, with kindness. But nah, it wasn't him. So it was just somebody being a scumbag. But anyway, thank you, because you guys were amazing, treating him with kindness. So thank you for that one. Right, back into the news. And by the way, whoever you were, if you think mimicking an autistic young man is acceptable, I mean, give your head a wobble, like, you know. I've done that, I think. Let's have a look at this poll anyway. Would you take Fofana from Monaco for £30 million? And 56% of you guys said you would, which is interesting because I got to say I don't know much about him. You know, Fofana from Monaco. I know we signed another DM from Monaco at one point who worked out quite well. I think it's fair to say when we brought in Fabinho, I think it's fair to say he worked out quite well. So, yeah, interesting one. I like the price point of about 30 million quid, by the way. That makes sense to me. So I'm going to ask you one more question about Darwin, because we're going to finish up in about half an hour. So I'm going to ask you one more question about Darwin. No, actually, I can't ask you that because it's the same question pretty much. Yeah, ignore me. Ignore me. I'm not going to ask the same poll again. I was forgotten what I actually put the first poll as. Bakayoko, Elise and Kudus, all of them will be great. Well, let's ask you of those three, because we did a poll the other day, I think, on this issue, but I want to see if you've changed your mind a little bit. So, okay, 1 second. Who was the other one we were talking about there? Is Pacho the centre back from Frankfurt? Yes, Giovanni, that's the guy. Where was... Ah, there we go. Yeah. Right, so I've given you a poll here and say, who would you want? Bakayoko, Kudus, Elise, and I've put an option in for somebody else, just in case there's another player who isn't in that list. Stargirl said Darwin comes with a family and it may not be football reasons for why he might want to move to Spain. His family might not feel settled or happy. I love that you're thinking that positively about family life. But I don't think it could just be an accident when you see the removal of Liverpool posts as well. And there are ways to go about things, you know. Everybody can understand the human side of football. If you can't settle in a city with your family for obvious reasons, that is a difficult situation for sure. But again, there's ways to go about it, and he started blocking Liverpool accounts who spoke about him walking down the tunnel, and then removed all the Liverpool images, and now we see these stories. I mean, it doesn't have to be that way, is what I'm saying. Craig, whereabouts in Belfast will you be at, as my sister lives 10 miles away? As in, where's the venue? It's the Limelight in Belfast. Just search us on Ticketmaster, mate. Just go on to Ticketmaster, search Anfield Agenda, and the information will be on there. That's Ticketmaster are selling the show for Belfast. We're selling the show for Cardiff, and Hot Water Comedy Club will be selling the tickets for Liverpool. But yeah, it's the Limelight in in Belfast. Sorry. How much money do you think Liverpool will get from FSG this summer? That's the $64,000 question, isn't it? Our average has been about 42 million net a season under FSG. So I don't know, is the honest answer. Like, we've always been told that there isn't necessarily a budget at Liverpool, right? That was the case of names were put forward, and then the first question was, is there value in the signing? Is it worth the money? And then they go from there. But that was when Jurgen was making those decisions. Now, I don't know. Like, I don't know if the club are going to go, right, well, we have X amount of money here, and then we'll top it up with player sales. That's why I get the feeling we're losing somebody. My wife's cooking, hence the smoke alarm. That's why we get I get the feeling that we're going to sell somebody this summer. I do. Whether that's Darwin, Salah, Diaz, I get the feeling we're selling someone because our owners are cheap. And that pisses me off, because our owners need to start acting like they actually want to win, and not that they want to be the smartest boys in the class. Yeah, that's okay, but nothing wrong with winning. Nothing wrong with backing the manager. And sometimes looking to a young up and coming prospect is cool and it works out. But other times you need a Virgil van Dijk or an Alisson Becker. You need a proven here and now, ready to go, top of their field, go get them. So a mixture of both would be a decent enough summer for me. But what I don't want to happen is for everyone to realise, oh, it's another situation where we now have FSG yes men in who are just going to be cheap asses, because that will very quickly cause frustration in the fan base. I think we would all feel that, however we feel FSG treated Jurgen in the market, he covered up some of those deficiencies because of how good he is as a motivator, a leader, a manager. But now we're starting from scratch, and the new manager has to be backed, and has to be backed properly. Football's moving on. You know, you can't always look for the cheap option. I think there'll be a few departures, to be honest, at Colin Watson. Losing Bellingham still hurts. So I got told something the other day about that situation. It's not something I feel comfortable talking about on a stream, so I'm not going to. But it added a new light to why perhaps we didn't get Bellingham. So yeah, I can't talk about it on here, but ask me in Belfast, Cardiff or Liverpool and I'll tell you. But yeah, I can't do it on here. And also I don't know if it's 100% true, the thing I was told. Do you remember Fenway Group looking for another team? Have they found any news? I've not seen anything on it, Bobby. My guess would be you're probably going to see Portugal, Belgium, France, Holland. If I had to guess of 4 countries that they might buy a club in, that would be my thought process. Don't think we'll look at anybody in Spain. Don't think we'll go to South America necessarily either, although there was talk a while back of Liverpool looking at one of the clubs over there. So I think if I was guessing, Belgium, France, Holland, Portugal, somewhere in there. Hi Craig, so you do your live streams at 7, the normal 8:30. No, I'm just doing this today, Samu, because yesterday I would have done it early as well, but I had a doctor's appointment yesterday, so I couldn't do it early, so it kind of clashed with the Champions League one. Today, I'm aware that everyone's probably going to go and want to watch the Real Madrid Bayern Munich game, so we started the stream earlier today. But what you will get tonight at about 10:30 is a late news update video. So yeah, we streamed early today, but our normal time is 8:30 UK Irish time. Do I know how much the release clause is for Elise? I don't, mate. No, I don't. I think the last one was about £40 million, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know the exact number of the new one, no. I think Elise and Isak would be ideal signings, said Trevor. I mean, I wouldn't say no. I also wouldn't say no to Kudus and Isak. I wouldn't say no to throwing in Inacio in there or Diamonde in there. I don't know enough about Pacho. Surely the Bellingham reason isn't bad. No, I wouldn't class it as bad. No, that's not the word I'd use. Yeah. That definitely isn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say bad, no. Am I a big movie fan? Not really. I'm a bit of a documentary fan, but as I think I admitted this the other day, so I keep very different time to most of my family because I'm a night person. I've always been that. I've worked night jobs. I've always been a night person. So I only go to bed about 6 or 7 a.m. But before my wife goes to bed, and when I finish doing my streams, we spend an hour and a half watching TV together, and we usually watch some Below Deck, which is our little guilty pleasure. But no, I don't watch many movies. Don't really have the time. So, damn Craig, you're really just leaving us with blue balls in the whole Bellingham situation. I don't want to say something on a public platform like this without knowing it's true. That would be disingenuous of me. So yeah, I can't say it, because I don't want to. I don't want to say something that I haven't been backed up with multiple sources on something like this. But as I said, on the stage show, that's what these things are about. You can tell the industry secrets. You can tell the stuff you can't say on a stream. That's why I think a lot of YouTubers, Redman or whatever, do these, Goldbridge or whoever else, do these shows. You can talk about stuff that you can't talk about on a stream. Greetings from vacation in Uganda. Well in, hope you're enjoying. Would Barca swap Victor Roque for Nunez? Xavi's basically forcing him out. I don't know. Mate. I mean, if I had pick of Barcelona players, I mean, I'd be looking for your Gavis, your Pedris. I'd love Frenkie de Jong, but that salary of his is just ridiculous. And I also have to repeat this. I don't want to lose Darwin unless he wants out. You go to bed when I get to my work. I've always been like that, dude. I'm weird. Like, I used to work for a company called Paradise Poker, which is part of Sporting Bet PLC, which used to sponsor Wolves actually at one point. I used to work for them, and I used to do customer service for the American market. So my shift used to be 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. And then my job after that, I drove taxis. So again, mostly nighttime. I was a DJ when I was younger as well. So I'd always leaned into nighttime jobs. So my hours that I keep have always been kind of strange. Like I stay up a lot late at night. And also, I like peace and quiet. I like my own company. And nighttime is the quietest time in the house, obviously, because everyone's asleep. So I get to do some of the work that I can't do during the day, stuff I need to concentrate on or read up on. What's Below Deck? Oh, Connor, come on now. Below Deck's amazing. So it's a show about super yachts, but it's about the staff on the super yachts. So the chef, the deck crew, the waiting staff, and basically takes you through the seasons of when guests come and hire the boats for 3-4 days or whatever, and it's so damn good. It's I've been watching it for years with Sabrina. It's amazing. I've seen the American version, the Australian one, the sailboat one. It's class. I love it. It's really good. Eddie said, I've done nights for 47 years. It's mad, Eddie, isn't it? I don't know, mate. I'm just in that nocturnal kind of lifestyle. What was your DJ name? Mr. Magoo. I'll watch Below Deck. Is it on Netflix? I think it's on Hayu these days. I think some of it might be on Netflix. But it's on Hayu as well. I thought that was a sexual question. No, no, man, no. Just a TV show. A reality kind of TV show that I like with my missus. And when I was studying in the States, I was also working as a DoorDash driver at night. Yeah, I watched a documentary actually about all those delivery outlets recently. Yeah, fair to say they need to look after their drivers and their riders and their deliverers a lot better. What's Heyo? It's a streaming channel platform outlet thing. Yeah, just Google it because different parts of the world, different TV stations show Below Deck and different platforms. I'm a bin man, said Justin. Good. Nothing wrong with it, mate. My father worked for the county council as a driver. A couple of my uncles were bin men. Good. On a solid job, pal. And fair play to you. You're out there working. Nothing wrong with that. Ever since Mane left, we've not been as good. I think you meant to write Kubo there. Yeah, Kubo is one that loads of the fans talk about, but I've not really seen all that much linking us to Takefusa Kubo. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if there is interest there or not. What controller were you using when you were DJing? I'm currently learning right now. Well, I was DJing, it was back in the day, so I had Technics 1210s and I had a Newmark mixer. And then when I changed and I was getting more into scratching, I got it to the Vastex. I used Staunton needles most of the time as well. But when I was doing it, I was using vinyl. You know, it wasn't at the point of. I had a Pioneer CD deck as well, but I preferred records. So yeah, for me it was a set of Technics 1210s and then a set of Newmarks. When I was getting more into scratching. We need a goal scorer, so Kudus or Elise are our best options, said Mohammed. I would keep Salah in the starting lineup. So would I if he stays. I'd like him through the centre though. You know, I think I've said this for a year or so now. I think Mohamed Salah through the centre could do good numbers as well. Would I change FSG for Saudi Arabian ones? So I can't really answer that question because my answer is I don't mind any private business people from any part of the world owning a football club. But I draw the line at state-backed entities or ownerships of football clubs. So if there was a legitimate Saudi businessman or woman that had no ties to the government that wanted to buy Liverpool, no problem. Same as if they were from Abu Dhabi, Australia, Canada, Mexico. If it's a private business entity, fair enough. I just don't like state interference or state ownership of any sporting ventures or football clubs. I think it removes jeopardy. It removes needing to operate as a successful business, and it can also be used as a way to sports wash or a way to try to change the image of a country on the world stage. So that's the honest answer. I don't care where people are from. You know, if you're a private businessman or woman and you want to buy a club, have at it. I just don't like the state-backed side of it from anywhere. I wouldn't like the Irish government to buy a football club. I'd still feel the same way. What shampoo do you use? I mean, I probably left a bottle of it in your bathroom, Matthew, so just have a look in there, mate, and you'll see what shampoo I use. And you're very clever, Matthew, because nobody's ever thought of making a ball joke towards me before, mate. You're the very first absolute genius stuff, pal. I am like any self-respecting UK or Irish male. I use Lynx Africa because it's Lynx. Lynx Africa or Lynx Black, that's the way to go. How long do you give Darwin to find his true form? Um, a year, another season for me. My concern now is that he wants out, and if that's the case, I'm worried because I don't like the club having a lack of stability behind the scenes. But if he stays, I mean, the very least half a season, but probably the whole season. Craig, should you be worried about Darwin meeting up with Arujo? I don't think so. No, because they are international colleagues. I mean, I get the Barcelona connection there as well, but for me, no, I'm not concerned about it. It's just two international teammates meeting up on some time off. That's the way I looked at it. Until we know that there's a reason that we need to be concerned, then maybe we look at it differently. Who would you buy as a striker? Isak. If I could pick Isak, I think Isak could be a great fit at Liverpool. I know that he's had some injuries and stuff, and I know he's a Newcastle player, so keep that in mind. But I think he'd be a good fit with the way we play. Never liked the idea of Osimhen. Don't think Tony will be a good fit really at Liverpool. Don't know enough about that lad Jimenez that people have mentioned from Feyenoord. Yeah. So for me, and I say Isak, not necessarily thinking Darwin leaves. Wouldn't matter to me, stay or leave. I'd still say Isak. If it's private businesses from China or even France, you can bet money sooner or later Westminster will be involved. And that pisses me off. Like, any of the political interference in football annoys me. The idea that FIFA are now in bed with Saudi oil companies and stuff and football. I don't like the grubbiness of football. I don't like the grubbiness of modern football. And I ask the same question all the time. I truly just keep asking, who's looking out for the game? Like, who is really fighting the fans' corner and looking out for the best thing for football and not the best thing? Because apparently FIFA and UEFA and everybody else think that the best thing and the answer is always more money. More money, more money, more money. Football's not lacking in money. It's lacking in morals, in my opinion. And between the farce at the PGMOL and their officials this year, between the amount of clubs being docked points for financial irregularities, and between what's going on with UEFA, FIFA, and their battle for control of football, UEFA obviously have much more money because they have the Champions League, the European Championships, and the top leagues in the world. And then you've got FIFA trying to shoehorn in their Club World Cup as another cash generator. It's just greed. It's greed, and nobody cares about player welfare. Nobody cares about football fans. And then we'll throw broadcasters into the mix as well. The sooner the better we get rid of broadcasters, in my opinion. Because there is also fucking over fans. Last minute changes when there's supposed to be minimum of 6 weeks given for fixture schedule changes. Changing it to times where fans can't get home from cities. Who the hell looks out for football and its fans? Because it feels like in the modern day the answer is not very many people. And it's disgusting. Because not so long ago we had the global pandemic, and that showed the world why fans are important to football, and that it would be a soulless, lifeless sport without fans inside grounds. And very quickly they seem to have forgotten again about the importance of fans. So I think we, as the football fans of the world, need to remind them, it's our game. It's the global game. You don't own it. The people own it. And the people will decide. Just like when we didn't want the Super League. Look how quickly people came together and showed what's what then. I hope we can do it again, because football is becoming grubby. And it's becoming a method that is being used to gloss over stuff, paper cracks, and enrich people. Not look out for the welfare and the growth of the game, which is what it should be there for. Blatter and Patini never plays proper punishment for their disgusting actions, said Reds. Hoping Slot brings in a dedicated striker coach to help our forwards. Well, even at that, like if we look internally to the club, you know, Fowler, you could try and get in. Michael Owen again, you could maybe get to work with the strikers. Ian Rush, I'm sure, could give them some pointers. I think a good psychologist and a striking coach, as you've said. I think Dom has the attributes to become a right winger. Well, he was speaking actually himself, Harry, and he said that his favourite position is central midfield. That was only, I think, today or yesterday he was speaking about that. Lots of people have again said yes, he could play in a wide position, but he himself says his favourite position central. Bring us a Premier League streaming service. Everyone will pay and be happy. Absolutely. Absolutely, mate. I would more than happily buy, you know, a Premier League version of Netflix that has all the games, all the old goals, some Premier League produced footage, some fan content on there as well, or, you know, it could be amazing. And again, no need for the broadcasters. There's a football cabal. If you do not notice it, we're the pawns. Look, it's getting grubbier and grubbier, mate. I ask you this question quite a bit, and most people say to some extent, and I ask, have you lost love, a little bit of love of football over the last, I don't know, 5-10 years? Because I have. I definitely have. I limit myself a lot more now to Liverpool than I used to. Used to watch much more. Used to be far more engrossed in the game around the world. Now it's just become a rich person's plaything. The ticket prices, the go-to games are going through the roof. Football jerseys are becoming ridiculously expensive. TV packages are taking the piss, and now you need multiple packages and you still can't watch all the games. It's just grubby and greedy, and they're going to destroy the sport by pricing out most of the people around the world and making it become an entertainment thing and not a sport. Right, so before we finish up, we said, who would you want? Bakayoko, Kudus, Elise, or somebody else? And with 38%, you guys have said that you would like Liverpool to sign Kudus from West Ham. Second place was Elise, really close behind at 37%. So just by 1%, Kudus wins the vote. Will the refs react better to Slot? I don't know, but he doesn't like poor refereeing decisions. He says it's the thing that angers him most in football. I remember reading a little piece. It's on the video, I said, the Everything You Need to Know About Arne Slot video. It was basically reading a quote from him saying, you can prepare all week for a game, you can coach your players within an inch of their life, you can do all the research on your opponent, and then the referee comes out with a howler of a decision and all your work's in the bin. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to... I don't think he's going to enjoy some of the PGMOL officials. Am I doing a watch along for tonight's game? No, I'm not. I will be back on after 10 o'clock though for a video, so keep an eye out for that one. But for now, my friends, I'm going to say good night to you all. Don't forget, Cardiff show on sale if you want to come and see us. It's an all ages event. You can get your tickets with the link in the description or at the top of the chat. Belfast show is on sale as well. Check Ticketmaster for that one. And I will see you guys tomorrow for another live show at 8:30. Until then, keep an eye out for the video dropping later on tonight. Drop a like before you head off me if you can, and enjoy the football. And we'll know later on this evening who's going to be taking on Borussia Dortmund in the final of the Champions League at Wembley. Have a good one. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.